And we are live.
Welcome to the Wartime MMA podcast. It's your boy Mike. I got my boys Tony and Alex. Here today we're going to be talking about UFC Paris. Great card. I can't lie to you. But we're going to get ready to start rolling from the prelims to the main card. Starting with the opening of the main card. Shauna Bannon taking on Sam Hughes.
I'll kick this one off. So, as any hardcore WMMA fan or just UFC watcher of women's fights knows, Sam Hughes is a bit of a test for these girls at 115. This is 115, right? Am I tripping? This is flyweight.
I think
it's strawweight.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Sam Hughes, 10-6 record, could be a little misleading. She's a bit of a barometer of the division, if you will. She's like a fraud checker. If you think you're good, if you beat Sam Hughes, you pass the test. If you don't, you usually don't pan out even in the top 15, so to speak. But she's got great conditioning, good cardio. Her striking doesn't wow you, but it's just, consistent. It's like volume, output, and she kind of gets better as the fight progresses and her opponent fatigues. Shauna Bannon in her last fight, she was able to get a submission win, I want to say, with an armbar after getting dropped by Pooja Tomar. I could be wrong, but I think that's what happened. 7-1 record.
Yeah.
Professional loss is to Bruna Brazil, who's in the Fighting Nerds. We'll get to them later on in the card. And she actually has an amateur loss to Dakota Decheva, who's really good in PFL. This is a tough fight. Sam Hughes, I do see why the odds makers lean her way. She's more tried and true in the UFC. But I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. I'm going to dog shot here with Shauna Bannon, and it's kind of for reasons that aren't really X's and O's related or tactics or actual reasons per se. I just think that she'll do enough. She'll do enough to have won the first 2 rounds and survive a tough third round. Sam Hughes on paper should style this girl. She's got the better coaching staff at Fortis with Saif Saud, who picked up his 100th win with Sam Hughes in her last outing. But we're in Europe. Shauna Bannon's got the better record, and you just kind of have like a decision that like doesn't make sense on every card, low key nowadays. So, I don't advise to follow me on this pick, but I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna go Shauna Bannon by decision, where I think she does enough in the first 2 rounds and survives a tough third, and gets an upset win in Europe, in France. I'm gonna go Shauna Bannon decision.
Yeah.
Women's MMA. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
No, you got it. You got it, Alex.
All right, but yeah, like when it comes to women's MMA, there's never you can never be so confident in your pick. So I understand why Tony's going for the European and the European card, but I'm gonna have to go with Sam Hughes here. I think Sam Hughes has upset and beaten a better competition than Shauna Bannon is. I think Shauna Bannon is, she's one of the girls that kind of looks like she might be like a British or Irish model or something like that, like a very like girly girl. And outside of Dakota Decheva, that doesn't really work out. Usually you got to pick the more dike fighters, and I think that's no different here. I think what's her name? I've faded Sam Hughes a lot, and I don't think I'm going to here because she's just a pressure fighter, and I think in women's MMA that actually accounts for a lot because you can push the pace of a fight that's relatively ass. And if you can do that, I feel like you can just naturally fight at a higher output. And when you're both ass, that usually winds up winning. And, I'm not going to completely shit all over her. She is really good at applying the pressure. And I don't really, like, outside of, like, Wonder Boy and MVP, I don't really think, like, that karate style works out. Like, that super sidekick heavy game. It's, you're open to barrages and counters. Like, we've kind of seen that with spinning back kicks and stuff like that. But there's a reason a lot of, like, people don't fight that sidekick heavy game. It's like she's fencing with her legs. I think Sam Hughes will figure it out and move in and, in number 2 and number 3, she'll be the grittier, fresher fighter that'll be landing more often. So I'm going to go Sam Hughes. I could see it maybe being close. We've seen weirder decisions happen, but I'm going to go Sam Hughes, 29-28.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and simple here. I got Sam Hughes by decision. Sean Bannon didn't really impress me her last fight against Pooja Tomar. I feel like if that was any normal ref type skills, they probably would have stopped the fight once she got dropped from the head kick. But she I guess she faced adversity and stuff. I'm not picking Sam Hughes by KO of any means. I think she's gonna win like Alex said. I think it's gonna be a 29-28 decision where she'll probably have a rough start, and then once she starts getting in, I think she's gonna start forwarding her signature Sam Hughes pressure, where she starts putting bitches against the fence and start out ragdolling them on the ground. Yeah, not really to say about this fight. I got Sam Hughes by decision. Ready to move on?
Yep.
Alrighty. Moving on, we got Rinat Fakhretdinov taking on Andreas Gustafsson. I got Andreas Gustafsson. I don't think Rinat's all that. Dude rarely fights. He only fights on if y'all seen his record, he only fights on certain cards. He doesn't fight on it's very rare that I've seen him on non-US related places. I know this is not in the US, but he just rarely fights, and his style is just terrible. His record is good, but his style does not fit his record for me. Andreas Gustafsson, it was a boring fight in his last fight, but I feel like that style is good enough to beat a Rinat. Carlos Leal was able to handle his way on the ground with Rinat, and certain other people. I thought I think this is gonna be the first time ever that Rinat doesn't get a fucking questionable decision. I got Andreas Gustafsson. I'll go with a 29-28 Gustafsson decision. I think Rinat will take the first round, and then he's going to start getting tired, like how he always does. He always gasses out early. And I think Gustafsson's going to start using that cardio and pressure on Rinat and just start wearing him down. I could see a TKO as well, but I'm going to go with the safe bet. I'm going to go 29-28 decision. I think he's going to beat Rinat in his own game, and it won't be a run.
Yeah, I have to agree. I've got Gustafsson here. I think Rinat's luck is kind of running out. I don't see Rinat, kind of what Mike said. Rinat, you'd think he's going to be like some Dagestani phenom, and he really isn't. He struggles to get takedowns a lot of the times. And he isn't nearly as physical and as dominant as, his record would lead you to believe. He's kind of mid, and his striking really isn't all that at all. He's got some wrestling, but even then, it's not super impressive. Gustafsson he's got a very, very, very high pace. One of the highest in the UFC, maybe even the highest pace. He just doesn't stop. The way he fought Chaos Williams, for a clinch fight, that was entertaining. He just beat the shit out of him. There was not a second for Chaos Williams to catch his breath. And I think in Rinat, this is a guy who tires normally because he fails so many takedowns. And Gustafsson, I have a feeling he's going to have some really good takedown defense. Not only is he a grappler, but I think a lot of these cardio guys who kind of are clinch fighters and grapplers, they do have really good takedown defense. And I think the more takedown stuff, the more tired Rinat gets. And that just feeds into Gustafsson's whole game. I think Gustafsson's going to, he's going to find a home in the clinch, knees to the body, elbows, and I think towards the later rounds, he's going to start beating the dog shit out of Rinat. And I think he's going to finish him in the third. I think, Rinat might win the first round, but I honestly think, a lot of it is going to be stand-up between these two grapplers. I don't see either one of them really being dominant on a position on top. Maybe Gustafsson after Rinat's dead tired, but and maybe Rinat can get a takedown early and get some minutes of control time, but I don't see it being a super, super takedown-heavy fight. I see a big takedown defense actually happening throughout the fight. I think it'll be a lot of clinch exchanges, a lot of scrappy exchanges on the feet, and a lot of failed takedowns. And I think that just feeds Gustafsson's game of wearing you out, applying this pressure, and working you in the clinch. I think this is honestly a great opponent for him on paper as well. And it'll get him pretty high in the rankings. So, and you need another Swede in the rankings in the UFC, so it makes sense. So yeah, you got Gustus. I got Gustafsson, third round TKO. I'm gonna say clinch knees, body and head. He just kind of slumps on the fence. Real gassed out shit.
It appears we have our first sweep of the card. I will also be going with Andreas Gustafsson. Renat Fakhretdinov, I think Alex and Mike hit it right on the nail. This guy's record, you look at it and you think, oh wow, he's good. The name, he's Russian. I mean, he fits all the descriptions of being a real contender. But if you watch him fight, he don't look like that record. He don't look like a fighter that fights like that record. And it's honestly kind of like he's on a generational run of, getting like decisions in his favor and things of that variety. And Mike also, like, he's right. If you look at a majority of where his bouts in the UFC have been placed, like it's in Abu Dhabi, it's like in Saudi, it's like there's a clear bias, if you will. He's the Carlos Leal fight. I mean, like anywhere else, I feel like he loses that fight, but because of where he happened to be in that time in the world where the fight and the venue was, he got his hand raised, in my opinion. 30-27 is absolutely ludicrous in that fight for Renat Fakhretdinov, if you watch that fight. I don't know how you can say he won all 3 rounds handedly. There's no way. But as for this matchup, we all actually picked Andreas Gustafsson in an upset win over Chaos Williams in his UFC debut. And here we are again picking him against Renat. I think Andreas gets better as the fight progresses. His style is not only effective, but it's more effective than just damage. It's like he's investing in the body. He's cutting like elbows in the clinch on you, like that's leading to cuts and bleeding. That's like for optics. Like if his offense is working, it's not only going to take a toll on you in that round. Like the later as the fight progresses, like you're going to be fatigued from the clinch exchanges and the knees to the body. You're going to have cuts. Like that's not going to get any better for like the doctors, like and the judges. It's just going to look bad for optics. His style like is really conducive to decisions. I feel like if he doesn't finish you, like there's still a good chance like he did enough to win the fight if he's doing what he's doing. Renat's wrestling to me isn't that special from someone hailing from Russia in that region. He does have a decision loss in his career to a 20-14 Kazakh fighter, but I'm going with Andreas. I think he's got the better conditioning. I think his clinch is better than Renat's, honestly. Renat's wrestling doesn't wow me. The Carlos Leal win hasn't aged better. A Muslim Salikov just starched him, and I know it was kind of flukish borderline, although he did straight up walk into that KO. Like, Renat genuinely lost like 2 rounds to that guy. I think Gustafsson could beat Leal now after watching the Muslim Salikov fight. So yeah, I'm not trying to do MMA math, but I think his style lines up well with Renat's. I think this is a favorable matchup for Andreas, honestly. The longer this fight goes. It's either a decision or a 3rd round TKO. I think they both got it right. It's just which one is it going to be? He does have, I guess, a chin, Renat, because he does get hit more often than you think. So he is fairly durable. So I guess I'll go with a... See, I want to pick my heart wants to pick a 3rd round TKO, but my brain's kind of telling me, like, Renat can take a punch, and maybe he'll just be cut up and tired. And he can go to a decision, but I'll be optimistic. I think I don't think Gustafsson even wants to leave it to the judges and try to get fucked by Renat. So let's go with a 3rd round TKO. I'm feeling optimistic. He's just gonna bludgeon him in the clinch after. Here's what it's gonna be. I think Renat maybe, like Alex said, maybe gets a takedown in the 1st round, but it's gonna be a lot of sprawls overall. It's gonna be a lot of defense, as Alex also said. And I think Renat's striking, like, he overextends himself a lot, man. Like, he throws kind of wild a little bit with the overhands. And I feel like he's going to throw himself out, low-key, in terms of the gas tank. And then Gustafsson's just going to push him up against the fence, and he's going to go to work. I think body knees are going to be there, elbows off the break, like, you name it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a 3rd round TKO for Gustafsson in our first clean sweep of the card.
Alrighty, moving on. We've got Brad Tavares taking on Robert Brycek. Rychik or some shit like that. Polish dude. Who wants to go first?
I'll give a crack at it. This is actually a tough fight. I can understand hesitation on either side. Brad Tavares is getting older. He's 37, 21-10 record, and Berjek, 35, lost his UFC debut against Ihor Peteria. I want to say it's like 17-8 or 17-6 or something like that. A record like that. Neither of these guys is special. Both these guys are, over or at 35 years old. It's not ideal. These are kind of the journeymen of the middleweight division, so to speak. But for what it's worth, Brad Tavares has clearly more UFC level experience. He's historically had good takedown defense, but his durability lately has been kind of questionable. He used to be like a fairly granite chin fighter, so to speak. Like, you could kind of count on him to go the distance whether he was winning or losing, but he has not looked that durable as of late. And I don't think Brad Tavares should be as favored as high as he is. So I can understand why you could have a tough time picking this fight. But I'll go with Brad Tavares in a close decision fight where I actually think he low-key will wrestle. I think the striking exchanges will be fairly close. I think Berjek is going to throw harder, and Tavares is just going to try to be more elusive. May even get cracked at one point. It's a matter of can he survive it. We'll see. That's the gamble in this pick. But I think Tavares is just going to have a somewhat veteran kind of experience, performance. Like, his experience is going to pay off. He'll be fighting at range, do enough to consistently be point fighting, try to avoid the power swings and punches from Berjik, and I think he's going to wrestle more than people think in this fight. I think he's going to try to get takedowns and get top control. So I'll go with a Brad Tavares close decision win. Not confident in it, though, I'll admit.
I'm gonna have to. You said you're going with Tavares, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with Tony, to be honest with you. It's a very tough fight. Yeah. But I'm just going with solely with the fact that Tavares has veteran skills. He's been in there with Dricus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, certain names, to be fair, like Chris Weidman. I know it wasn't a good Chris Weidman, but he still was in there with a legend. And he did lose to Bruno Silva.
Yeah, it's a tough fight.
I'm gonna stick with my Tavares pick, but I'm not confident. I'll go 29-28 decision, but I could see Robert Bershke taking the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough fight to call because when Robert Bershke had his debut, he looked a little too ass, to be honest. He looked.
That's me.
Yeah, right, check. He looked a bit too ass, to be honest, against Potieri. Like, I didn't expect him to look that bad. So I kind of think maybe, something was going on, whether it be UFC jitters or an injury or a combination of the both. But he looked really, really bad. And but if I have to go off Robert Bershke, and that's Robert Bershke as I know him, I think he loses to Brad Tavares. I think Brad Tavares is better than Potieri. And Potieri just kind of fought him at range with like a long kickboxing style, which is very un-Potieri-like. Potieri usually runs in and just gets KO'd or fights in the clinch. But I think if Potieri can kind of out-kickbox you, I think, what's his name also can, Brad Tavares. I think Brad Tavares is a lot better rangy kickboxer than Ihor Potieri is. And I think he's going to be able to play that game if Potieri can. And if that is Berchik as we know him. Because I've never seen somebody look that bad after being a touted European prospect in their debut. But yeah, if that's Berchik and that's really what he has to offer, I got as far as by 30-27 decision. Just kind of staying out of the range of the big punches, calf kicking, tapping with the straights and the jabs. But I think there's a chance if Berchik shows up like a new man and makes us forget that he looked like ass, he could potentially KO Tavares. Tavares is getting older. I don't think he has a great chin at this point. But I do have to go Tavares by decision, just being experienced and keeping it out of range where Berchik wants to fight.
Agreed. Tony, you won it, right?
Yep. We all got Tavares back-to-back sweeps.
Alrighty. Moving on, we got Sam Patterson taking on Trey Waters. That's a tough fight too. Trey Waters is a good one, but Sam Patterson also coming off a very good win against Danny Borralho. I'm gonna go with Trey Waters. Why not? We're gonna go with the underdog pick here. I think. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. This motherfucker did. Gabriel Bonfim ain't horrible. Who wants to go for me?
I'll start it off. I can edit that part out too if you want. Yeah, so this is a good fight in the welterweight division. Sam Patterson coming off a big upset win over Danny Borralho. Very impressive. He showcased his striking in that fight. It was a bit of a shocking display. I thought if he were to win, it'd be by submission, but for him to knock out Borralho, that was impressive. Trey Waters, I want to say he's 9-1. He has a bit of a Sean Woodson-esque advantage in his division. He is 6'5", with 77 reach at welterweight. These are heavyweight, light heavyweight intangibles in the welterweight division. Fighting out of Jacksonville, born in Jacksonville. He's got good striking. He's got good range management. On the feet, he's elusive, and he does enough to stay ahead. He can kick, he can box. He's not bad. And his only professional loss is to Gabriel Bonfim, who is he's not bad, even though I did think he lost his last fight to Wonderboy. But not a bad loss. And to lose by submission, that's like Gabriel's game. Like, he is got very good jiu-jitsu, very highly touted. But I'm seeing a bit of a history here in Trey Waters' career. He's been submitted twice in 2 amateur bouts, and he's been subbed in his professional. His only loss in his professional record is a submission. So he's only lost really by submission in amateur and professional, and that's gonna not be great against a guy like Sam Patterson, man. Sam Patterson is pretty well rounded. I think his grappling is better than his striking, and we just saw his striking in his last fight. Now Trey Waters, on paper, I don't mind if you think he's a better striker than Danny Borralho, but I'm going to go Sam Patterson here, man. He really impressed me in his last fight. I think he's very well-rounded. I think, Leon Edwards, I may be counting him out, but I am. I think a new generation of UK welterweight is coming, and I think it's going to be Sam Patterson. So I'm going to go with a third-round submission for Sam Patterson and a scrap. I think Trey Waters early on is going to be very aware of the takedown threat and the potential of getting to the ground. Even though Sam Patterson is like a prolific wrestler, I think he's just going to be kind of fearful of I don't want to get this to the ground. I want to maintain my range. So he'll be poking and moving. Nothing really too crazy, just like point fighting 101. He'll be circling. But I think slowly but surely Patterson will play the leg kick game here and there too, and he'll close the distance. And then he'll get into the clinch, and he'll push him up against the fence, maybe throw a knee or two. And I think Trey Waters, along the way in exits, is going to start showing like Patterson, I could jump his back there, or I could try to drag him here. And slowly but surely, I think he's going to gain confidence. And I think when it hits the ground, there's going to be a significant gap, man. So I'm thinking third round submission. It could be second too, but I'm going to go third round submission and a scrap. Where I think in the first round, Trey Waters will narrowly have won it off points and striking. But in the second round, Patterson's going to get more confidence in his grappling, and he's going to get him down. And I think by the third round, he would have been primed to get the takedown easier, take the back, transition, and get to a submission. So I'm going to go with a third round Sam Patterson submission.
Yeah, I have to agree with Tony here. I think Trey Waters is quite good, and he is fucking huge for welterweight. He's very rangy, he's very tall, he's very long. But I'll be honest, all those same things were just as true about Sam Patterson at lightweight. Well, Sam Patterson was once that same weight bully. And what Sam Patterson's career at lightweight showed us is being a weight bully has its drawbacks sometimes. Sometimes that chin ain't what it needs to be. And to be fair, I don't think a lot of people are getting past Trey Waters' reach to check that chin. But, I know it's a kind of a fight between this massive welterweight and a former lightweight, but if you look at their heights and you look at their reaches, it's 6'3" Sam Patterson versus 6'5" Trey Waters. A 2-inch advantage for Waters. Definitely the bigger fighter, but it's not so significant. If you look at the reaches, I think it's 80 inches for Trey Waters, and I believe it's 77 inches for Sam Patterson. So once again, Trey Waters does have the advantage in reach, but it's not so drastic as people will have you believe, like talking about Trey Waters as he's some big guy, because he is. But Sam Patterson's fucking... I have no idea how Sam Patterson ever made lightweight. He's, like, massive in his own right. And I think, like, Sam Patterson, he showed in his last fight that he can take out a powerful striker, somebody who recently moved up to middleweight and Danny Borralho on the feet without grappling. I think even if he has trouble on the feet here, and I do think he should definitely grapple, but even if he tries his luck on the feet first, I think... he might even have success there, but I think the grappling advantage really takes Sam Patterson over the edge for me in this fight. I think, scrapping it out with Billy Ray Goff isn't the greatest look. Billy Ray Goff is kind of just a no-skill scrapper who just kind of wants to put himself into dangerous positions to try to get you off your game. Very good, and I think Sam Patterson's a lot better than that. I think his boxing's a lot better than that. I think he's got a really, really good jiu-jitsu game. I'm going to pick Sam Patterson to kind of box for him with him in the first round, get his reads, find what takedown will work best, and eventually get the back and sub him with the rear naked choke in the second. I'm going to go Sam Patterson by submission. I think Trey Waters is good, but I think Sam Patterson is, that lighter man skill. He operated at a lower weight class with better fighters for longer. He was actually known in M1 as a daggy killer as well, so... with that type of reputation under your belt, I think you're going to go pretty far in the UFC, especially at welterweight, where, it seems like all the grapplers at welterweight either went down to lightweight or went up to middleweight. There isn't as much grapplers in the division as there once was, and Sam Patterson with his slick striking and good jiu-jitsu, maybe he can make a run. We'll see. But yeah, I definitely got Patterson here. Second round sub.
I was gonna go with Trey Waters mainly because he was the bigger man and stuff. But I don't know. Something tells me he's gonna gas out early in this fight. I'm gonna go with Sam Patterson by TKO. I think Trey Waters is gonna look very good and might potentially catch Sam Patterson with stuff. But I think Sam Patterson's going to weather the storm later on in the second or third. And I think he's going to get him... I think he's going to get him to the ground, and I think he's going to just start mauling him with ground and pound shots, and I think they're going to probably stop it like that, where Trey's too exhausted to move and get out of the dominant position, but Trey Waters... Sam Patterson's just getting him down and stuff. I'm gonna go with Sam Patterson, ground and pound TKO. I think he's gonna get his back, and Trey's gonna be worried about getting subbed, and he's just gonna get repeatedly hit with ground and pound shots in the back mount. I'm gonna go with Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson, second round TKO, ground and pound shots.
Sam Patterson's the next wave of UK welterweight. Leon's on his way out. This guy's coming up. I'm just calling it now. Sam Patterson's good.
I do worry about his defense. He does look like somebody that could get chinned, and he doesn't really keep his hands up as high as he should.
Yeah.
I don't think Waters is going to KO him.
He's got talent.
He got KO'd by Yanel Ashmuz, but that was in lightweight, so I guess
that fight had me thinking Yanel Ashmuz was something.
Yeah.
He is not.
No, I didn't think Yanel was anything. Yanel got caught in that fight too, to be fair though. Like that's why I couldn't go off that fight for my pick of Trey Waters. So I just went with Sam Patterson. I don't know. Something just tells me Trey Waters is gonna gas out in this fight early.
Or the pressure from the grappling, striking exchanges. Yeah.
I think he will catch him, and he's gonna try to knock him out and then blow his load in the first or second, and then get TKO'd on the ground. Moving on, we got Cowie Fernandez taking on Harry Hardwick in his UFC debut. I want to go with Harry Hardwick so badly. I really do. I like Harry Hardwick, but I'm going to go with Cowie Fernandez. I think he's going to get him to the ground pretty early. I think Harry Hardwick will have a great fight, though. I think Cowie Fernandez is going to take the first 2 rounds, and then Cowie Fernandez is going to get tired from just trying to. He's just going to blow his load, and then Harry Hardwick's going to make it a scrap in the later rounds, in the later ends of the fight. And yeah, I'm going to go with the 29-28 Cowie Fernandez decision. I think this will be a tough fight for Fernandez, but I think he's going to get the job done.
Yeah, this is not the best case scenario for Harry Hardwick's debut. I've been waiting for the Hardwick brothers to get in the UFC for a while now. It's unfortunate that this is the way they finally have to. George Hardwick fights on the Contender Series, loses, and then he loses again to Samuel Silva. Hold on. Driving through traffic. Apologies. But yeah, Samuel Silva, as we saw, is nothing special either. And I don't want to say like George and Harry are the same person, because they're not. But they're very similar styles, and I see them kind of as the same fighter in a lot of ways. I think they're, George is more of a striker. Harry is more of the clinch fighter grappler. I think that's definitely better if you're going to be facing Cowie Fernandez, but he's coming up short notice, a weight class up, which I'm not a huge fan of, against somebody like Cowie Fernandez, who's dangerous on the feet and who is a proper lightweight. While Cowie Fernandez isn't a super huge guy himself, and I actually think Harry Hardwick might be slightly taller, he does have a bit of a soft midsection in his fights, Harry Hardwick, and I don't know if anybody's really taken advantage of it, but I think Cowie Fernandez could, and I think maybe chopping body kicks and low kicks like crazy, and I think that could be bad news for somebody like Harry Hardwick. If the leg kicks are as vulnerable to somebody like Guram as they were, I think somebody who keeps as much weight on that front leg as Harry Hardwick does, I think he's going to get chopped down. I could see him like almost getting leg kick TKO'd. I almost picked him to get finished by leg kick TKO, but I think Harry Hardwick's tough, and he could push through those moments and maybe win himself third round. But I think this is too much too soon on short notice. A weight class up. I think the scenarios are bad for him. I winded up picking Guram over Vucenic for that same reason. I winded up being right, even though I wanted Vucenic in the UFC for a long time as well. But it's just, I don't know. I don't like the featherweight moving up. This isn't a Vucenic situation either, where he bulks up. This is a featherweight who's just kind of moving up on lightweight on short notice. He's going to have that same, Max Holloway against Poirier 2 flap. Like featherweights have when moving up. And I'm not a big fan of that. And I think Cowie, who kicks as hard and as fast as he does, those are going to be open. I don't think Harry is great, like, with takedowns. He's more of like a clinch, wear you out, find the back, jiu-jitsu kind of guy. But he's got a chance. But I got to go Cowie Fernandez, chopping low, and I think those leg kicks are going to be huge. I could see him maybe getting a finish with them, but I think Harry Hardwick's going to tough it out and win himself a third round in a hard-fought loss. But yeah, I got Cowie Fernandez, 29-28 decision.
It's a good fight. Harry Hardwick's UFC debut. To say it's under unideal circumstances is an understatement. Cowie Fernandez was getting ready to fight Faris Yam, who in his own right is a nice lightweight. He's emerging in the division. He had personal family reasons why he had to pull out of this fight. Unfortunate. Hope all things are good for him. But as for this matchup, Harry Hardwick, 13-3. I think he had a draw. I could be wrong, but like 13-3-1 maybe. Was he not Cage Warriors champion featherweight? Harry Hardwick? I think he was, right? Or is it George?
Yeah, Harry Hardwick was a featherweight champion. Okay. George was lightweight. Harry was featherweight.
Oh, okay. Okay, bad. Yeah, Cage Warriors is a good promotion. It's very good in Europe. They have a lot of the European talent. But, we've seen, at least from the Bellator perspective, a lot of these guys come up in the UFC level. It's just a whole nother level. It's a whole nother ballpark. And I look at some of the opponents Harry Hardwick has faced, and truthfully, I just think Cowie Fernandez is a better striker in every facet. Speed, technicality, power, accuracy, you name it. He had an opponent. I want to actually make sure I got this right. He fought a Brazilian opponent named, let me see, right here. So where's he at? think it was a title defense in Cage Warriors. Yeah, this probably gonna butcher the name. Kawini Lopez. He's a 12-3-1. He trains at the same gym as Cowie, which is a Nova União. And for those who know MMA, that's the same gym that had names like Jose Aldo and Renan Barão. And I actually think that, granted, it's a similar like frame of opponent. Cowie's like 5'9", 73 reach. Kawini Lopez was 5'9", 71 reach. Relatively similar records as well. Like Cowie's 10-2, Kawini's like 12-3. I just think Cowie, the leg kicks, like Alex said, I think that's a staple of Nova União a little bit. Jose Aldo, Renan Barão, Cowie's got good leg kicks. Like, I think that's a staple of the gym. I think he's got better sparring partners. I think he has a guy he can call in Kawini and be like, yo, like, how did you fight Harry? What can I do better than that? And things like that. Granted, it is very short notice, and I'm very sure he's already in France. He probably left. But nothing the call can't fix. Like, I would genuinely do that if I was Cowie. But actually is what's going to happen in the fight. I think Hardwick should grapple. I think if he strikes, I think Cowie's going to be too quick, too slick, too good, and I think he's clearly the better striker. I think Hardwick, like Alex said, has to make it an ugly fight, get in the clinch, find ways to get takedowns, avoid getting your leg decapitated, which I think will occur. Body shots, I agree as well. His midsection doesn't look particularly, like, I feel like the body shots are there, especially for a taller featherweight. And he did not properly bulk up. Like, these are not ideal circumstances for Harry Hardwick's debut. It's tough. If he gets this win, he earned it, because he would have went against a lot of odds to do it. But I'm gonna be inclined to go with Cowie Fernandez, a guy who's never been finished in his career. He only has 2 decision losses. Takese, I didn't watch the fight, but I asked someone. I think they said, like, did he not like grapple in that fight, in the Cowie fight, Mark Takese? Like, he didn't even really strike for real. Like, he just grappled him.
Yeah, he just held him down.
Yeah, like that should be the game plan if you're Harry Hardwick. You should really try to emphasize grappling in this fight. If you're striking at range, I think Cowie's just gonna be too good. And his other loss is a 9-1 Brazilian fighter who looks promising in his own right. I just think Cowie's better than the guys that Hardwick's beating in Cage Warriors. He just beat someone who's like currently 5-4. Like, come on, and that was for like a title, I think. So there's just levels to this game, and I think Cowie Fernandez is just he's in more shape right now for the moment. Hardwick, these are below. Like, these are not ideal circumstances. This is not it. So unless he doesn't grapple, I think he's gonna get fried. Leg kicks, body shots, you name it. I'll be optimistic. Maybe he toughs it out to a decision. So I'll go with the Cowie Fernandez decision win. But I do not mind a leg kick TKO pick or a body shot TKO pick. I do not mind it at all. Not at all. Yes, sir.
Alrighty, moving on. We got Marcin Tybura taking on Ante Delija in a rematch, and this is Ante Delija's debut. I actually rewatched that fight last night. You can watch it on YouTube. Ante Delija lost to Tybura by a leg injury. In my opinion, Ante Delija was landing very clean overhands on Marcin Tybura, and I'm gonna go with Delija. I think this is a good underdog pick. If you rewatch the last fight, I know there's like a thing like, oh, you can look, there's always room for improvement and stuff, and that was like years ago where Delija was younger and stuff, but I don't know, man. Tybura, he ain't no spring chicken either. This dude's 40 almost. I'm definitely going with the Delija. I think if he can find the openings that he was landing on in the first fight, I think he can get Tybura out of there. And I ain't gonna lie to you. If Tybura didn't get that leg injury TKO, he would have probably gotten slept. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you rewatch after this video, I want you to rewatch that fight. He was landing clean bombs on Tybura in that fight. I'm gonna go with the second round KO. I think he's gonna have a counter heavy style. I want to go with the first round but I feel like it's gonna be too good to be true here. I think he's gonna find the openings. He's gonna find where he caught Tybura in the past with these punches. And yeah, I got Delija winning his UFC debut by second round KO. Maybe first.
Yeah, this is a tough fight. You're not the first person I heard pick Delija. I originally had Tybura, but I'm kind of having second doubts. I'll be honest. I think a lot of the times Tybura does beat the young bucks. He doesn't really beat the veterans. And Delija is a veteran in his own right. He's been around, and like Mike says, they have fought once before, and Delija, the injury was getting the better of him. And I think on the feet you got to go Delija here. But could Tybura kind of out-wrestle? Delija's been flexed. I don't know if he's ever been out-wrestled significantly that I can remember. So I think I'm actually going to switch my pick to Ante Delija. I'm gonna back Mike. I'm going to go Ante Delija by TKO in the second round. I think it'll be a very fat MMA fight, where they're kind of throwing fat people strikes. And Tybura is going to look for takedowns, and I think Delija is going to do a good enough job of defending him. And I think he's going to get the better of the strikes, and he hits harder. And I think eventually he's going to TKO Tybura. I'm going to say second round. But yeah, I think that's a good call by Mike. I'm going to follow that. I'm going to go Delija second round TKO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike and Alex brought up great points in this matchup. This being a rematch, these two actually fought for the first time in M1. And if you watch the fight, it's on YouTube, like Mike said, you could clearly see Delija was having success on the feet. He's a big guy, man, this Croatian heavyweight. You know, he's not a slouch. He's not some rookie. He's very much well-versed in the game. He's 35 years old. He's got 30-plus pro fights. Decent record for all, 25-6. It's not bad, especially a heavyweight where we know where the skill gap is in that weight class. But 6'5", good reach, Croatian, decent striking, man, and he was doing really well in the fight before the leg injury. Tybura, he's been there, done that, 30-plus pro fights in his own right, but man, he's getting older every fight I see him. Like, his last fight, I'm sorry, I don't know how you can justify how he won that fight against Mick Parkin. Outside of a couple body roundhouses and maybe one takedown, Mick Parkin, literally, go look at the stats, go watch the fight. He outstruck him. He had more takedowns, had equivalent, if not greater, control time. The damage wasn't visible from the Tybura side. I mean, Parkin didn't really do anything to visibly damage Tybura either, but I thought on activity alone, as well as having the undefeated record, like he would have won that, but for some reason he did not get his hand raised in that fight. And Alex brought up a really good point that made me think twice. Tybura is really good against these inexperienced guys. These guys who don't have like 20 pro fights, basically. Like the Johanta Diniz fight, to be specific, and even the Tai Tuivasa fight. Like, they're decent strikers and they have decent, power, but their grappling is no bueno. It's not good. Like, they can't grapple for shit. And he took full advantage of that in the Tuivasa fight, got a submission. He took advantage of that, got a ground and pound TKO, I want to say, against Johanta Diniz. Or it was either a doctor stoppage or a ground and pound TKO. But I think, this being a rematch, I think Delija is motivated. It's his UFC debut. I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I'm going to go with the Croatian in this one over the Poland fighter, Tybura. I'm going to go with Ante Delija, and I'm going to go with the knockout as well. I think he's going to defend the takedowns. I will say that, though, going into this matchup, he has been submitted multiple occasions. I want to say he got key-locked early in his career. I looked on Tapology. And if you're Delija, keep this fight on the feet, bro. Like, don't even fuck around in the wrestling and the grappling. I'm going to trust, having been in 30 pro fights, having been submitted, that he would have made the strides and improvements in his grappling defense to not get into those positions. And I think as so long as his fight's on the feet, I think Delija's more dangerous. He's longer and he's younger. I think he's going to maximize just every opportunity he gets in the striking aspects of this fight. So I'm going to go with a second round TKO, like Alex said. I think he's going to sprawl and brawl, man. I think he's going to know the takedown's coming, see it coming, and just defend it and put the pause on Tybura. I'm going to go to second round TKO and a win for the Croatian in his UFC debut, the walking trouble Ante Delija.
A clean sweep for an underdog, I believe.
I think so
He's
too. I
actually
think
moved to a slight favorite. Funny enough,
Oh shit.
I think it's warranted. I think it's warranted.
Yeah, I don't think he's that bad. He has been like blobbed out in the past, but I think it's only a matter of time that we give Tybor these plot armor victories. But moving on, we got Umar Sy taking on Brenson Rivero. I got Umar Sy. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Brendan Ribeiro's fucking ass. Not really to talk about dude's ass. I'll go with late first or second round KO for Umar Sy. This dude's coming back 2 months prior from getting KO'd fifthly by fucking Mirzakhanov. And coming back 2 months prior is just insane to me after getting starched. But yeah, enough of me yapping. I got Umar Sy by late first or second.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm also going to be picking Umar Sy. Brenton Navarro is kind of just ass. He's long, he's powerful, but that's about it. I think Umar Sy is better than that. He's got striking and wrestling. He's had some bad moments in his fighting career, but I do think he's far better in almost every aspect of the game than Brenton Navarro. I do think it'll be a decision. I don't think Umar Sy is much of a finisher, but potentially he could get a submission. I could see Umar Sy getting a submission. But my pick is a decision where Umar Sy mostly grapples and shoots a lot of takedowns to get in on the range of Ribeiro. Honestly, for somebody as long as Ribeiro, he really doesn't use it like he should. So Umar Sy, I'm going to say 30-27 decision.
Excuse me. Yeah. I'm gonna make it a clean sweep. But before I do, I do have to talk about Umar Sy's last fight. Wow. Alonzo Menafield, he's no slouch at 205, but he fumbled that fight straight up. The strike count was inflated in his favor. At worst, I want to say it was arguably 2-0 Menafield, but it felt like it was at least 1-1, and whoever wins round 3 wins the fight. And Umar Sy's athletic, he's not in bad shape. He can grapple. I want to say he averages well over 2.5 takedowns per fight. He is very willing to grapple. His striking isn't particularly special. He doesn't really have that power. You look at him and you would think, oh, this guy could crack if he lands right. But he doesn't really put you away like that. So I could see the decision aspect as to what Alex is alluding to, as well as multiple takedowns. I could see that definitely being the emphasis of this game plan in this fight, because Menafield, he has weird performances, man. He'll have a fight where he'll just run into a straight line and just get killed by Olberg, but then he'll get beat up for 2 rounds against Dustin Jacoby and drop him multiple times to win the fight. He just has, these ranges of performances where either he gets, cooked or he actually hangs in there. He's got good takedown defense. Alonzo Menafield's a hard guy to take down. He's very athletic. I think Ribeiro is not as compact and not as good in the takedown defense, specifically as Alonzo Menafield. So I do think takedowns are going to be easier for Umar Sy to get in this matchup. And Alex said it best too for Ribeiro. He doesn't really maximize his reach as much as you would like him to for having the striking style that he does. He was able to fraud check. It was either his last fight. I forget the dude's name. I can't pronounce it. But he was hailing from the Caucasus region. He was undefeated, and he was able to beat him. I'm gonna hope that Umar Sy learned his lesson. That fight was on a silver platter to be won by him, and he still found a way to not do it. The output is not great from Umar Sy, so I want basically what I want takedowns. I want a grapple heavy game plan from Umar Sy. I don't want to fuck around on the feet and get caught if I'm him, if I'm his coaches. So yeah, I'm gonna second Alex. I'm gonna go to Umar Sy decision where he just gets takedowns, control time, threatens submissions, but Ribeiro will do enough to tuck his chin and not get subbed. But yeah, I'll go to bounce back win for Umar Sy in France.
Alrighty. Moving on, we got William Gomez taking on Robert Rachala. This is Robert Rachala's debut. I think he's going to. Ooh, this is a tough one. Y'all, one of y'all can go before me.
I can kick this one off. This is a tough fight, man. You know, Gomez is not bad for what his style is and for what type of fighter he is. He's not bad at it. He's 14-3. He lost to Hyder Emil. I liked Hyder Emil in that fight, and I didn't even know, but he had like an injury going into that fight too, and he was still able to do enough to win that fight. Gomez is a bit of a point fighter. He's got good footwork. He was able to pull off an upset win also against Joe Anderson Brito. Last time in France, he was the underdog against Brito, and I actually picked Brito in that fight, and he did enough, I suppose, to win the fight. It was close though; it was a close fight. But you know, he's a good point fighter. He's elusive. He's not small featherweight. You know, he's not bad. This fight being in France is really big for him. For his style, it's really big. He was an underdog last time. Now he's favored. I'm not gonna lie though, man. I haven't watched too much of Rachala, but I am tempted to pick him. I noticed on Typology his only career loss, and I see no shame in that. The guy he lost to, that guy is him at KSW, so I'm not even mad at that. But Rachala, I do know, I want to say he did a little bit of a camp at ATT, I want to say, with Gamrot and maybe Rebecca and them, so I do think he's going to have a good camp for this one. I know he can grapple. I'm tempted, man. I really am, because this dude's not small featherweight. He's 5'10". My whole thing is like, Hyder Emil is gonna go forward, and he was like, he had one leg, not one leg, but like he was going into that fight with an injury. We found out after the fight, I think in the post-fight like interview, he said he was hurt in that fight. Like, he's smaller than Gomez. You know he's gonna go forward. That should be Gomez field day, like jabbing him at range and like for him to close the distance as well as he did. I kind of feel like if Rachala follows a similar path on the feet, I know he can grapple. So, with all that being said, I know we're in France, man, but why not? I'm gonna reach, man. I'm gonna go Robert Rachala. I just think that the striking from Gomez, he's very good on the back foot. He's very good counters. He's elusive. He's hard to find. I don't think his takedown defense has really been tested per se, and I don't think this is a small featherweight he's going against. And I saw a small featherweight who wasn't 100% be able to close the distance on him. And I know Hyder Emil before the Delgado knockout was like an iron chin, like he's a tank. He's just going to go forward and take damage. But this guy only got finished by one guy, and I know that guy's better than Gomez. So I'm going to take a shot with the underdog here. I'm going to go, funny enough, against popular opinion too. I think I'm going to go a decision as well. I think Rachala is going to close the distance in the striking, land enough big shots to get some oohs and ahs, get the takedowns he needs, get the positions he needs to inflict ground and pound or go for submission attempts, and he would have done enough to beat Gomez at his own game in France in terms of the decision game. So I think Rachala is going to mix in the grappling and do enough with the boxing to like get some big moments and beat the point fighting style of William Gomez in his home of France. So I'm going with the upset Rachala in this one. I like these KSW guys.
Yeah, it's a tough fight. It's very much like a European promotion fight, like a KSW fight or Cage Warriors fight you'd see on one of those promotions. William Gomez, we've seen more out of him in the UFC. He's had a couple of fights here, whereas Rachala is the new signing from KSW. Both men are pretty big for featherweight. Gomez, the rangy kickboxer, and Rachala, even though he's big and rangy, he wants to kind of get in the clinch and kind of make it a grapple fight and take the back and probably get a ground and pounder submission. That being said, I usually in these type of scenarios do slightly go for the UFC guys. I feel like, I've seen Gomez somewhat evolve in front of my eyes. I remember like he was pretty mid when he first joined the UFC, and he almost got ranked here recently in a very close fight against Hyder Emil, which I'll be honest isn't the best look. And I do think Rachala can kind of put some pressure on him, but I think in France, I think Gomez is getting bigger. I think he's building muscle into the weight class. I think he's going to be able to catch Rachala in moments. And I think, he's not Saladin Parnasse, but Saladin Parnasse is another French kickboxer who's very long. And, I think there is a little bit of a game plan there that William Gomez can try to implement with body shots, kicks to the body, and just staying rangy, staying long, and doing the right thing at the right times, and not playing into Ruchala's chaos. And I think Gomez can do that. I'm going to pick Gomez to win by decision. I'm going to say 29-28. Ruchala makes it scrappy, but, the French crowd going to cheer for everything Gomez does and make it a little less close on the scorecards in the eyes of the judges. And I'm going to go Gomez by decision, just off on the striking damage and being able to mitigate takedowns.
Alrighty, moving on.
Wait, you didn't give your pick.
I did.
You pick Gomez?
I didn't give my pick yet?
No, I don't think you gave your pick. You told me to go first.
Oh yeah, my bad.
You're good.
I got I want to go with the underdog pick in Ruchala, but I'm gonna go with the experience in William Gomez. I think that last fight he probably knew that wasn't the best performance. He probably had better performances, and it being in France, I think that's gonna do a factor too in this fight. Yeah, I got 29-28 decision for William Gomez.
Word.
Alrighty, moving on. We got Luisin Kita taking on Patricio Pitbull in his UFC debut. I'm gonna go with Luisin. I'm gonna go with Kita. I think Kita's gonna cook him. I think his first loss. What was his first loss, by submission or decision? I think it was one of those.
I think it was a decision. Let me check.
One of them was a foot injury. I know that.
Yeah, it was a foot injury. Yeah, it was a foot injury. Against a Georgian guy.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's gonna fuck up Patricio. I'm not gonna lie to you. Patricio Pitbull has not impressed me in his UFC run. Dan Ige is just a third round merchant, and he made, and still looking at that Yair fight, he made Yair look like he made Yair look like he never has looked good before. Like I've never seen Yair look that good before in a minute. I'm gonna go with KO. I think he's gonna put Patricio out cold. Lately, Patricio's chin hasn't impressed me lately. I've seen him get tagged a couple times. I've even seen Sergio Pettis, who's a bantamweight, tag him. And I've seen a couple highlights from this Belgium dude. This Belgium dude looks really good. He's 27. He's 16-1. He's a champ from other promotion. I think he's easily promotable, especially if he knocks out a guy like Patricio Pitbull. And I think he's on the coming into his career, while Pitbull's on to the end of his career. And that normally doesn't do well for those older fighters. I'm going to keep it short and simple. I got Luisin Kita by KO. First or second.
Yeah, this is a tough fight to predict in a lot of ways. I think Luisin Kita is in a lot of ways very dangerous. And in my mind, if Chihiro Suzuki can KO you in the first round in Ryzen, Luisin Kita can also do that. He's very aggressive, very predictable at the same time as very aggressive. He's very powerful, very fast, but he's very heavy on straight punches and 1-2s. And I'll be honest, I think Pitbull could shoot under those. And if Pitbull fights like he did against Dan Ige and like truly wrestles with this guy, I think he'll win. But I've seen Pitbull get slumped in the first round by people I think who are less aggressive, less good, and less dangerous overall than Keita is, especially early. I know Keita can do him in the first round. I know he can. But I think this might be a little bit too soon for Keita. He's a bit heavy on the straight punches. And if that's the case, I think Pitbull's experience can shine, and he can look through look through and find the takedown under the straight shots. And if he does that, I think he will have his way in the wrestling come later in the fight. He's just got to be able to eat the shots that come back and survive that first round. But I'll be honest, I'm not totally sold on Keita yet. I was pretty close to picking him. But I think I'm going to have to go Pitbull here by decision. I'm going to say 29-28 or 30-27. I think he'll take it to the ground at the right moments. I think he learned his lesson against Yair, and we saw that in the Ige fight. I'm going to trust him here. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to trust the more experienced out of the UFC fighters rather than the newer one, who I think is a bit more predictable, even though he is more dangerous. But yeah, Pitbull decision.
It's a good fight. UFC debut of Keita coming from Octagon, I believe. Looked very impressive in that promotion. Outside of the leg injury, he's been virtually flawless in his career. 10 knockouts, 6 decision wins, 16-1 overall. Pitbull, man, what's there to say, man? Honestly, bro, like, he's not pioneer, maybe not the right word, but bro, he's been in the game since like 2004. Like, this guy is 30 plus. Like, well, he's got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience in MMA. And 1-1 in the UFC. I picked him in the Yair. It's funny. I picked him in the Yair fight. He lost. He didn't wrestle as much as he could have or should have or per se, but Yair was just too fast and just a bad matchup in his debut. There was a clear speed gap. It was like pretty visible. That's the best Yair's looked in a minute. And then in the second fight against Dan Ige, I picked against him. I'm thinking Ige's going to knock him out, but Pitbull shows the veteran savvy, secures the takedowns, even hurts Dan Ige at a moment in the fight, and does enough to secure the victory. I look at those performances and I think, like, okay, Yair, that makes him look better, and Dan Ige, that makes him look maybe a little overrated per se, but as for Keita, man, I see a lot of potential in him and a lot of aspects of MMA. Yes, the competition isn't really comparable. I mean, Pitbull's been in there with Yair, Ige, AJ McKee, Boric, maybe Adam Borics? Yeah, I think Adam Borics. I don't think he fought Pico, but he might have. Needless to say, like, he's fought a variety of guys in Bellator and Ryzen in the UFC, and he does have a wealth of knowledge. This is a dangerous fight for him, though, man. Keita's clearly going to be bigger, but Pitbull's dealt with that in a lot of fights. But the speed, the power, the danger of Keita and his highlights, man, it's visible. And I just think off his athleticism, like, he's a bit of a specimen, man. I really do. This guy is got a lot of talent, but he may be a little raw. Even though he's had 17 pro fights, you got to keep into account, like, the level of competition he's facing at Octagon. You have to think Pitbull has definitely fought better guys. But I just think this is a case of, if Pitbull doesn't grapple, man, I am worried for him, bro. I think if Yair's landing the punches he is, Keita's killing him, bro. I'm sorry, like, he is. I don't trust Pitbull's chin at this age. I know he was able to avoid getting clipped by Ige. Like, it could have gone south, but he was able to get the takedowns. Maybe not from a technical aspect, but just in terms of sheer athleticism. I feel like Keita is not an easy dude to hold down. I mean, we haven't really seen it per se in his career, but I just think he's such a specimen of an athlete. This dude is not how are you going to control this guy? Like, this guy is going to be fast, he's going to be powerful. We'll definitely need to see how he does in the later rounds, but he's got 6 decision wins in his career. It's not like the guy is a first round merchant. Like, this guy is very talented. I think he could win a decision where he lands bigger shots and the damage would be more impactful than the submission attempts and the control time and takedowns of Pitbull. But I could also see a knockout. And I think in his UFC debut, I just think that there's a youth, athleticism, speed, power, edge that's so significant. Like, man, if Pitbull doesn't wrestle, he is fucked. I'm sorry. He's getting knocked out if you don't wrestle. I'm going to go with a second round knockout in the debut of Keita, the Black Panther. I see talent, man. He's good. I think he's got speed. He's ferocious. His striking, maybe a little green just in terms of the competition he's facing, but man, I see a lot of potential in him. And I think this is a big win in his career that he can secure and become an immediate name in the featherweight division in the UFC. I think he's coming in at the right time. Pitbull, I think, came in too late. And I picked him against Yair, and I faded him against Ige. So I'm 0-2 in picking Pitbull in the UFC. I'm hoping to get my first win against him here. I just think this guy's special. I see potential in Kenta. I'm gonna go to second round TKO for the Black Panther in his UFC debut.
How many donuts do you hit on?
Did Alex give his prediction? Yeah, he went with Pitbull.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Moving on into the main card. We got Axel Sola taking on Reese McKee. Originally, I was going to go with Reese McKee, but it's in France. I'm not going to go with like, oh, it's in France every time, but I feel like this France crowd does stuff for these French dudes that gives them like, it's gonna sound weird and stupid, but it gives them that aura factor into that fight that where they feel like they can't lose. And I've also seen Reese McKee get tagged up a fuckload of times too. To be frank, that's why I'm also going with Axel Sola. I think Axel Sola is gonna tag up Reese McKee. Reese McKee looked good in his last fight. I get that, but I still can't get the fights out of my mind where he's getting lit up like a Christmas tree. Like it doesn't get through my mind that he was just like known as being the punching bag of the UFC once upon a time. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I got Axel Sola by second round KO. I think he's gonna find some counter shots involved. And I think he will land the counter blow to put Reese McKee out. I've just seen Reese McKee get tagged up way too many times, and I feel like it's only a matter of time when his gravestone is fully written. And he's only 29. That's the crazy part. He's taking so much damage at a young age. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough fight. I'm gonna have to go with Reese McKee here. I like the way he looked in his last fight, and he beat another kind of European guy coming off the regionals, and he smoked him. I really like the way his hands looked in his most recent fight. His takedown defense seems to have gotten slightly better, and knowing that this is a welterweight fight where Axel Sola is a lightweight moving up kind of on short notice, I don't really like that. I think he's going to be able to defend Axel Sola's takedowns a little bit better due to him being a lightweight, also coming off the regional scene. I think Reese McKee's better than the competition he's been facing in Aries. I think Reese McKee poses a lot of problems. He's big, he's long, he's one of the bigger guys at welterweight, and for a lightweight coming up, I don't like that. I think I could even see a TKO here for Reese McKee. I think Axel Sola will try to tough it out since he's in France, and it'll be a decision. But I'm going to say maybe Axel Sola will have a good round in here, but I'm going to say Reese McKee by 29-28 decision. I think he's going to start busting up Axel Sola later in the fight.
This is a tough fight, man. Real talk. This is a very tough fight. Because off competition, you got to give it to Reese McKee. He was good in Cage Warriors, and in the UFC, he's only fought some good names. I mean, he fought Hamzat, he fought Alex Morono, he fought Angelusa. I want to say he fought Chidi Njokuani. Like, he's fought tough styles and a lot of different like grapplers and strikers and such. He's coming off a great win against Frunze. That was a really good win by him, and he looked good in that fight. The striking looked very sharp. As for this matchup, being at welterweight, this is at welterweight, correct? Or is this at lightweight? Oh, this is at welterweight. Wow.
Welterweight. This is welterweight.
Say again. Is that
welterweight?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like Sola's a lightweight moving up, and Alex is right. Like we did it earlier in the video. I don't know why my mind's drawing a blank. Hardwick. Hardwick is a featherweight coming up to lightweight, and he did not properly bulk. So, off sheer principle, conventional wisdom would tell you that I would lean the Reese McKee side. And in terms of experience, and at least from what I've seen, like, I haven't watched any of Alex Sola's tape. Like, on paper, I guess I have to go with Reese McKee being the better striker as well. It's a tough fight, man. Because in France, you have to tell yourself, betting and picking on this card, like, you have to add like +5 on decision attributes for all France fighters. Like anywhere the venue is, that's how I think. You call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want. That's how I feel. Like if it's a decision scenario, you always have to give the benefit of the doubt in the venue where with what you think the fighter they're trying to go with. But I don't like to base fights off solely that. But this is a close fight, man. It really is. I think Sola should attempt to grapple. I wouldn't just try to strike with Reese McKee. I think he's proven that he could take a punch and he could throw one back. I just haven't seen enough tape on Alex Sola, man. But favored. Could it be biased? Could it be the undefeated record? More than likely. This is a tough fight. I'm gonna go with. This is a tough fight. I low-key want to flip a coin because I do think it really is that close, and the odds reflect that. I just simply don't know anything about Alex Sola, so I'm looking at his opponents. Like he's not fighting small guys. Like he's fought 6 foot, he's fought 5'11", but Reese McKee is like 6'3" or something, or 6'2" or whatever. Yeah, you know what? Why not? Yeah, like flip it. Head Sola, tails McKee. Heads. Sola. I'm gonna go with Sola in a close decision where he secures takedowns. Maybe does enough to win the first 2 rounds in a very I feel like every round of this fight is gonna be so tit for tat, so like super close. Like there'll be an argument either way by the end of this fight. But I do think that 3rd round will help Reese McKee if we go that far into the fight. But yeah, literally, I think this fight is super close. I'm gonna go with Alex Sola in a borderline robbery close decision.
Tony Trill signature. God damn it.
There's one on the card.
Yeah. Moving on. We got Balaji Oki taking on Mason Jones. Tough one to predict, but I'm gonna go with Mason Jones. I think he's gonna be able to get takedowns on Balaji Oki. His last fight wasn't super impressive. I get that, but I think I don't know. I think Mason Jones is very, very good, bro. Like and he's 30 years old. He knows that he's gotta pick up the pace because it's only a matter of time where he gets out of his prime. So, Balaji Oki's also 29. I think he'll have time to improve. He's also decent as well. I think I'm gonna go with decision. I'm gonna go with a Mason Jones 29-28 decision, or maybe a 30-27. I have a feeling that he's going to get the takedowns against Balaji Oki. I have seen Balaji Oki get subbed before too. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pick submission just yet. I could, but I'm going to go with Mason Jones. I think he's going to get takedowns on here. And I think he's a very underrated prospect in the making at lightweight. I don't know if he'll be ranked or champ, but I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a really close fight. I think it should be pretty fun too. Oki's got the power. I think he's probably a little bit faster as well. Mason Jones has a really good chin. He's also gritty. I think the striking is probably close. I might lean slightly to Oki. The more I say it, the more I think I'm going to pick Oki, but I think I'm still going to pick Mason Jones. That's what I was originally going to pick. He's got the grappling, and I think if he mixes that in, he can still get the victory. I do think Oki's dangerous, but I don't think he's nearly as dangerous as people thought when he came in. For being this powerful guy, he really hasn't slept anybody with the hands. I don't think Mason Jones is going to be the first guy that he sleeps in the UFC. Mason Jones has got a great chin, and he's pretty tough. I think Mason Jones is going to be able to mix the martial arts and win a decision that way. Oki is tough, and he does got to watch himself on the feet. But I think if he does and mixes in the takedowns and better grappler than he is striker, but he likes to strike more. But if he likes to grapple in this fight, and if he feels like he wants to, I think that's an easier path to victory for him for sure. But you can never be so sure what these fighters are going to do come fight night. But I'm going to have to pick Mason Jones to mix in the grappling, because I think if he does, he'll win. Similar to the reason I picked Pitbull. I think if he does grapple, he'll win. But I think I do think there's a really good odds here that Mason Jones does some stupid shit and wants to have a brawl, and all of a sudden the second round, his face is all a mess. It's a bad visual, and okay, sure, you might have toughed out a couple knockdowns, but you're down on the scorecards now, and that's what I'm afraid of with my Mason Jones pick. I'm going to side with him anyway, because I don't think Oki's really all that good. I don't think his power's all that, and even if he does land, Mason Jones will survive. And I think Oki's got a big weakness in the grappling game. He got subbed by Chris Duncan really fast. So I think Mason Jones should be able to do it to him on the ground, maybe even a submission. But I think it'll be a decision. Mason Jones, 29-28.
Very tough fight. I'm glad this fight's on the main card. It's a very competitive fight. Mason Jones is a good lightweight, man. He really is. 16-2 record, 30 years old, representing Wales. He's got great grappling, good durability, never been subbed, never been KO'd. You can depend on his willingness to be in the fight. And he's only lost 2 decisions in the UFC. It's against Mike Davis and it's against Ludovic Klein. I mean, these are good names in the lightweight division to lose to, and these are decisions. And for the style that Mason Jones has, he does want to grapple, I feel. I do think that he's a better grappler than striker, but he's not a bad striker for a grappler, if that makes any sense. He's got decent reach. He's not a small lightweight. I just can't help but notice his last fight. I don't want to critique him too much. He got the win, but I thought it was going to be a very kind of easy submission on paper. I thought Jeremy Stephens, having fought in bare knuckle and boxing and doing things other than MMA, there'd be a bit of a rust factor, as well as the age gap, and just we know how good Mason Jones grappling is. I figured that the second it hits the mat, if it does, he should choke his ass out. He managed to make it a bit of a scrap more than I would have liked, and he actually it wasn't too much damage, but like he did, he got a little swelling, got a little bruising, and I just can't help but notice, man, like I do think Oki is at this point, we got to kind of say, like, I feel like if he could do more, if not better, than Jeremy Stephens did. I am very aware, though, of the Chris Duncan submission loss. It did show a hole in this game, because I felt like he was winning in that fight on the feet, and then he made a dumb mistake, shot a takedown into I think it was a guillotine, and it was just like, I was watching that fight live with some friends, and we were all like scratching our head, like, why did he do that? Like, it was questionable fight IQ, potential submission defense. These are the holes I'm seeing in Borralho Oki's game, but aside from that, man, like, he's a specimen in his own right. Not a small lightweight. Decent speed, decent power. I do agree with Alex. His power could be a tad overrated, considering what we were expecting out of him. It's been a couple decisions, split decision to Timmy Kawamba, and the decision win over Aswell, who is a featherweight moving up to lightweight. And a lot of people, I thought Aswell, even though he lost the fight, I thought he looked pretty decent in that fight as well. This fight really comes down to Mason Jones' game plan. If he wants to go out there and grapple, I really do feel like he can win the fight. But going off of his last fight, and maybe Jeremy Stephens has better takedown defense than I know. Maybe he's the better wrestler overall than Borralho Oki, which I'm not mad at if you say that. He's just got more experience in MMA altogether. But I really do feel like if Mason Jones doesn't get takedowns, I'm not saying he's a fish out of water on the feet. He still has decent reach and he can have pressure. But I just feel like that's going to play into Borralho Oki's game. And I'm actually going with the Belgians in this one, man. I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Borralho Oki in a decision win where the optics of the fight is him defending takedowns. I feel like in the Chris Duncan fight, maybe it was like something that he should have been fearful of, but I feel like he didn't respect it. I feel like having now lost a fight off of one mistake like that, he'll be more aware of that, not be willing to give himself up in those grappling exchanges, and I feel like he'll be more reserved, more tactic, more counter-striker, if you will. And frankly, I do believe Michael Aswell is a better boxer than Mason Jones. So if this fight does play out on the feet, like I think it does, I see Borralho stuffing takedowns. I see him landing more damage visibly on Mason Jones. And I'm going with the Belgian in the upset and a decision win. I'm going with the Zulu Warrior, Balaji Oki. But again, this fight really comes down to Mason Jones. If he want to grapple, there's a path. It's there. But if he doesn't, he'll pay the price. So I'm going with a decision win. Good fight. It's a good fight.
So transition to that took me roughly about 2.5, 3 years.
Hello? Hello? My bad. We ready to move on, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Yes.
Feature fight.
Alrighty, feature fight. We got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Paul Craig. Tough fight. Real tough fight to predict. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Modestas Bukauskas. Paul Craig's just a bit shit, man. Like, it's just a hard thing to say. I like Paul Craig. Good personality, good fun fights that he has. Either he's gonna get knocked the fuck out or he's getting rocked and shit, but continues into the fight and pummels his opponent on the ground. I don't know, man. I just got Modestas Bukauskas. I got him winning this fight. I think he's gonna get the job done here. I don't know how I can see a world where Paul Craig just wins after getting dropped badly, but I don't know, man. Something doesn't feel right for me to pick a Paul Craig. His best chance was to win against Adolfo Borralho, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I got Modestas Bukauskas by the first round KO.
Yeah, this is a interesting fight, nonetheless. I was gonna pick Paul Craig in his last fight against Borralho because I think Bellato's retarded. I think Modestas is less retarded. I think he's kind of wants to prove a point after he got cut from the first time from the UFC. And since he's returned the first time, he's only lost to Vitor Petrino, which I can't fault him too badly on. Petrino's pretty good. I do think he's probably going to knock out Paul Craig in this fight. I honestly could even see him following down Paul Craig like hard into the guard, like drop a big fucking hammer fist through Paul Craig's guard while Paul Craig's laying on his back. Like not really engage the ground game as much, just like drop big shots on him. Potentially Paul Craig could sub him, but I really think Modestas isn't as dumb as some other fighters Paul Craig has beaten in the past. And on the feet, he has a superior advantage. Paul Craig's been here for, fucking 10 years, and he still hasn't learned how to throw anything other than a body kick. And that's his own fault. I got Modestas KO first round. He'll try to do something to get it to the ground, Paul Craig, that is, but I don't think it's going to be super successful. It never really is. He just kind of subs people by accident, and I think Modestas is going to avoid all that shit for the most part. So I'm going to say Modestas first round KO. I'm going to say big shot to ground and pound.
Feature fight in France. Paul Craig, he really kind of fumbled his last fight. He got the illegal up kick, and he really shouldn't have thrown it because I actually thought he won the first round. And the way the fight was going, the feel of the fight, it felt like he was building confidence going into round two. But unfortunately, he found a way to make that it was a no contest, correct? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think Alex hit it on the nail. Like, from a striking aspect, all Paul Craig has is that body roundhouse. Like, he's been in the UFC for so long, and he hasn't really improved virtually at any aspect of the striking. We know what his main game is. He's going to put on his face paint at the face-offs. He's going to yell in your face, and then as the fight goes on, he's going to get on guard, and he's going to be like, jump in my guard. That's not what Modestas Bukauskas is going to do. Based off looking at his typology and watching some of his old fights, the way to beat him is knock his ass out. Like, he's going to strike with you, and he's going to give you opportunities to catch him. Khalil Roundtree was able to get that brutal knockout that he did with the oblique kick. Modestas coming off a close fight with Ian Cutelaba. It was a very close fight. I want to say I felt like Ian won the fight, but in the eyes of the judges, he was able to get his hand raised. I do think there is a significant gap on the feet. It's very, very significant, I feel. I think Modestas is more powerful, more technical, faster, younger. I mean, he's got virtually every advantage on the feet possible. Paul Craig, I mean, he was looking good in the Borralho fight, but I think Alex also hit it on the nail. I think Borralho's fight IQ is no bueno. I think he's very rocks for brains. Like, he's not smart. He is not a smart fighter. Modestas isn't Einstein or a genius in his own right, but he is much smarter than that. He'll look like a genius compared to Borralho. Borralho looked awful in that fight. He looked very bad. And for Paul Craig to be getting to outstrike you on the feet, and that's just pitiful. Modestas is not cut from that cloth. I expect him to light him up with kicks. The hands will be better, like, you name it. Paul Craig is a killer be killed fighter, you know. And he fumbled, man. I really felt like he had a win in his hand his last fight. So yeah, I'm going with a loss here, and it's gonna be an emphatic one. I'm gonna go with a Modestas Bukauskas. I don't hate it. Fuck it. I'll go with you guys. I'll go first round knockout. I mean, the gap is just gonna be visible, man. Like, he's got nothing for him on the feet, bro. Nothing. He needs to pray like he can get a takedown or something. Like, if he can't, he's fucked. So give me Modestas Bukauskas first round TKO. I don't know what method it's going to be. It could be kick, it could be punch, it could be knees, you name it. So, yeah, Modestas cleans him out in round one. The Baltic Warrior.
Alrighty. Ready to move on. We got the co-main event of the evening. We got Benoit Saint Denis taking on Mauricio Rufy. I'm gonna go with Mauricio Rufy, man. I've been hearing crazy to hear, but I've heard people going with Saint Denis. I kind of get why. We haven't really seen much of Rufy's game that much, but I've seen way too many fights of BSDs, man, and I've said it since everybody was on his cock. On everybody, like Tony, for an example, was like saying, "Oh, he's gonna be the next French star and stuff like that, and yada yada yada. He's gonna do this and that." And yes, he was looking good against Poirier, but it just kept showing, for how I've been saying from a get-go, his fucking boxing defense is ass. His defense in general is just terrible. He just walks forward and tries to go for an elusive fighting. It's entertaining and all, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to go against a Mauricio Rufy. I think Rufy's going to stop him in round 2. I could see body knees. I could see a kick to the body, a kick to the head. We've never really seen somebody with Rufy's length, pause, and frame going against a guy like BSD. We haven't really seen BSD fighting somebody like Rufy, and I think it's gonna be bad. I think it's a bad matchup. Just him having no defense. But yeah, enough of me yapping. I think I've yapped too much. I'm gonna go with Rufy second round TKO. I think he's gonna tag him up to a body. Maybe he might get a head kick KO. Who knows? But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I have to go with Mauricio Rufy here. Benoit Saint Denis, just very hittable would be an understatement. There were moments even in his last fight against Kyle Prepolek where Kyle Prepolek was like spinning his jaw. And if fucking Prepolek is doing that, man, you know Rufy's doing that. And, you know, I there are people picking Benoit to beat Rufy out there. Grappling is a factor. We've seen more out of him. He made he gave a low-key, gave a hard fight to Dustin Poirier. in the rounds that he was fighting him before he got knocked out. But I think Benoit is just so hittable. And against a guy like Rufy, like even if Rufy is a fraud, I don't think Benoit is going to be the guy to fraud him out. And as far as like his takedown defense goes, like his Contender Series fight, he fought a Dagestani and he looked pretty damn good takedown defense wise. It was just, you know, now he's in the UFC. Is he going to be able to keep it up against UFC competition? But history tells us Rufy's got pretty decent takedown defense against Dagestanis even. So I could see him honestly defending some takedowns against Benoit. I do think Benoit's a problem on the ground. He's a marauder on the feet. But I think, marauders get caught. You know, they run forward with their hands down, their chin up, and they get cracked. And I think it could be a situation like that here against a guy like Rufy, who's, I think, not deservingly being treated like the second coming of McGregor. But I do think, you know, there are tendencies there, of course, like the pullback counters, the timing, and all that. But if he has any semblance of that, he should be able to knock Sam Denise the fuck out. Or at least, like, 30-26 him if he won't go away. But, you know, maybe Benoit can take him into the later rounds. But I think, what's his name? Rufy is the guy to finally put the end to that chin. But you never know. Maybe Benoit marauds himself to a victory. But I'm going to have to go with Benoit getting fucking murdered in the first round at some point. I think Rufy's just going to have a field day with what he can set up on him and hit him with.
Co-main event of the evening. The first of our theme of the card, if you will. We got two of the fighting nerds. Two hyped up ones, nonetheless, going against the best of France has to offer in their respective weight classes at the present moment. In the co-main event, Mauricio Rufy, one shot, coming off a great knockout win over Bobby Green. That was a great heel kick. That was picture perfect. He knew he one-shotted him. He didn't need no follow-up. He knew what he did. BSD, coming off back-to-back losses against American top team fighters in Renato Moicano. I picked him in that fight, Moicano. That was a nice upset win. I did not expect him to put the paws on him like that, get a doctor stoppage. I thought he'd like mix in grappling, win a decision, but he looked boxing, looked good in that fight. His grappling, everything looked good. Poirier, I did pick BSD in that one. He looked great in round one, but his I fear he gassed himself out, and Poirier at that point, he smelled blood in the water and got a great knockout win over him as well. BSD, I've noticed a little trend of his in his career. He's fought a lot of Brazilians in the UFC, man, funny enough. And there's the guys he beats, and then the guys he loses to. He beats like a Gabriel Miranda. He beats like a Thiago Moises. He beats like Ismael Bonfim. I picked him in that fight. He was a big underdog in that fight. I like BSD. I really do. I think he's a dope fighter. The God of War. Like, I think he's cool. I like his style. He is a marauder. He really is that, bro. Like, he just walks forward and just throws. Like, he is entertaining. I don't really think he's had a dud in the UFC, honestly. None of his fights are boring. BSD fights are always fun. Whether he's winning, losing, or indifferent. Like, they're always fun. But like I was saying, like, he beats Miranda, Moises, and Bonfim. But granted, it was at welterweight in his debut on, like, you know, he's the lightweight, and he fought Zaleski. It's not a great matchup, but still, he's Brazilian nonetheless. And I think Mike said that BSD never fought someone with a similar style of Rufy. I think Zaleski dos Santos, I could see a couple similarities. Not picture perfect, same style, but just like the kicks and just the power per se. But Rufy, I do believe, is better than dos Santos from a striking aspect. I think Rufy, man, he's a sniper. He's got great timing. Alex brought it up too. I feel like the guy he fought in the Contender Series, on paper, he's got to be a better grappler than BSD. And just being from Dagestan and the wrestling acumen that region has, and he was stuffing all those takedowns. I rewatched that fight today, and I feel like that guy's a better wrestler, at least, than BSD. BSD needs to make this fight ugly. He's got to get in Rufy's face. He's got to take away the range, take away the ability to dart in and out with the 1-2, take away the kicks. He's really got to marauder his way into this fight. And I just fear, like, Rufy's style, like, that's he's going to be on the center line where Rufy's just going to be able to hit pivots and angles that is going to catch BSD coming in. So I actually am going to go with Rufy in this one. I don't know if it's going to be a one-shot. I do think BSD will pose some threats in the clinch and the grappling exchanges, but Rufy wasn't able to finish Yontop. Yontop missed weight, and I do believe he's kind of more durable than BSD. Like, or equivalent, if not greater durability. Like, both those guys are hard to kill. But Rufy's got the power, the accuracy, the timing, and the weapons to do so. And BSD's defense, Mike said it best, like, it's bad. Like, I like BSD, but he when he wins, loses, it don't matter. He's getting hit. In the Moises fight, he's getting hit. The Miranda fight went his way, the Bonfim fight went his way, but he's hittable. And Rufy, if he hits you, he ain't missing. So I'm going to go to Rufy. I'll go second round TKO. I think he'll stuff a couple takedowns. I think BSD is gonna fight smarter than people think in round one. I feel like he's not just gonna try to go forward and give Rufy a target to hit. I feel like he's gonna want to mix up the grappling and see if he can take him down. See if he can push him up against the fence in the clinch, just to see what the physicality of Rufy's like. Am I able to wrap my arms around him and get like better weight distribution in situations? And I feel like Rufy's gonna stuff him. He's going to spend maybe a little... It'll be borderline, like, boring a little bit. Like, he's going to push him up against the fence to try to take away his range and explosiveness. But Rufy will do enough to get out of it. They'll be back at range. And I think he's going to start going to work with the leg kicks. He's going to land his jab. He's just going to try to look for the right shot. Maybe even hits a step-in knee when BSD gets caught overextending and he moves out the way. Gets a good body shot in. And then I think he would have won the first round off damage, but it would be close because BSD maybe gets a takedown and maybe works his way up against the fence in a couple minutes of control time. But in that second round, I think the target's going to be more hittable for Rufy. I think the leg kicks are going to get easier. And then he had a heel kick. I want to say he's had a cross knockout maybe. I'll go with... I want to go head kick. Nah. I'll go with like a body kick that like just like keels over BSD and then ground and pound. So I'm going to say like a body kick TKO from Rufy. I feel like BSD is going to have his guard up a lot and that body is going to be open to knees, hooks, and roundhouses. I feel like BSD is going to protect his head a lot in this fight because the way the Poirier fight and the Moicano fight went in the boxing exchanges, or just ground and pound in general. And I think he's going to leave his legs and his body to get hacked by Rufy. So I'm going to go to second round TKO for Mauricio Rufy via body kick.
Word.
Might hit the spinning side kick to the body. Either a body roundhouse or a spinning side kick to the body like on some John Jones shit.
I was thinking about doing that, but it is very rare that we get a spinning side kick to the body KO or TKO. Ready to move on?
Yep.
Everybody?
Benoit should be thanking God that he never had to fight Joel Alvarez.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on before we get into Joe Alvarez meet match. Main event of the evening: Nasruddin Imavov taking on Caio Borralho. As you can see, I've took off the Fighting Nerds glasses on this one. I'm gonna go with Imavov. I think I want to go with Caio. Caio's very good, but there's been moments where I've seen Caio fight, and it's very like suspect. Don't get me wrong. There's some weird, questionable IQ moves that Imavov does too, but I don't know, man. I don't like that Caio's coming back after just recently cutting weight for being a backup opponent for a title fight, and now he's about to fight for a number one contender spot and having to cut weight again. That is not the type of party that I like, and that is not the type of party that I would recommend doing, especially if you're fighting for a number one contendership fight. I'm gonna go with Nasruddin Imavov. I think he's gonna get done by decision. Nasruddin's very good. I like Nasruddin Imavov. Very good striker. His wrestling is it's not that great. I have seen him. If you are going with Kyle Borralho, you would have to hope that he grapples in this fight. But other than that, I'm gonna keep it short and simple for this main event. I think Nasruddin Imavov is gonna get it done in his home turf. I could see Kyle winning. I would like to see a Kyle Borralho Chimaev fight in the future, but I don't think it's gonna happen just yet. After just cutting weight recently, you're gonna have to go through all that hell again and cut weight again. I just feel like, honestly, I could see his chin getting affected from it too. Nasruddin's been knocking people out recently too. But I think I've yapped far too long about this. I'm a kick it to my homeboys on this one. I got Imavov by decision, possible TKO.
Yeah, our main event of the evening, France versus Fighting Nerds again. It's a good fight, close. As close as it is, the way that you'd make a close fight just less close is have some bullshit like, oh, he weighed in 2 months or 2 weeks ago or some shit like that. And that's kind of what's going on again. And I already was leaning towards Imavov, and that's just more reason for me to stick with Imavov. I don't really like the way like Kyle fought his last fight against Jared. Fair enough, you outstruck a striker. Okay, good for you. But like, there were moments where I was like, bro, like, shoot a takedown. Like, what are you doing? Like, at least try. Like, you're the fighting nerd and you're not doing the thing. Meanwhile, Cannonier's hitting you with big hooks and rocking you and making you do the Kevin Lee dance. Like, and you never once thought about it. Only like when you like nearly killed Cannonier in the 5th round did you like go for an arm triangle. And even then, you just let him back up to the feet as soon as the arm triangle didn't work. Instead of like posturing, ground and pound, finishing the fight. I don't like that. Like, I feel like he feels like he has something to prove with the striking. And I feel like, maybe now with this whole Hamzat shit, now that Hamzat's the champion, he might want to show off his grappling like too much and have an ego about it to the point he might gas himself. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like this whole capping shit he's doing on Twitter. Like, oh, Drickus is injured, Hamzat's injured, and all this shit. None of it's ever true. Like, Kyle's been kind of acting weird lately, and like, it's hard really to like know what he's gonna do. Like, I don't know if he's like, he might come out here and try to strike with Imavov the whole time. I don't know what I'm picking. He might try to mix the martial arts, and I think if he does, that's like gets him a really good chance of winning. But if he like tries like a strictly takedown game plan, I think Imavov's going to stuff him all and like knee him to the body and teep him to the body and set up traps. And in France, they're going to like cheer for the slightest thing Imavov does. In the weight cut thing, I think Kyle's kind of up against it. And I just like, I really don't like the way he's been like acting lately, I guess I could say, but it's also like goes for like how he's been fighting. Like, for being like the smart like leader of the Fighting Nerds to like not shoot a takedown on Jared Cannonier when he's like clipping the fuck out of you in certain moments is crazy to me. Like, even like Imavov is like shooting for takedowns and going to the clinch and doing shit like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if the IQ's all there. Like, he kind of looks like a Down syndrome Paulo Costa. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe he is. Maybe that's why he's like, yes, guys, I am the fighting nerd. I'm just going to strike the whole time against Imavov. I don't know. But nonetheless, I'm going to pick Imavov. I think he's pretty sharp. I think he's evolving. He's a lot bigger than he once was. He can make some accusations there, I feel like, if he wanted to. But, for now, let's just say he's a clean French Dagestani non-juiceman. But, yeah, that power looked different again in Adesanya. He looked big. We might be looking at Swolvov, like Swolkov, but Swolvov. He might pull up as a real contender with some real takedown defense. And, like, shit, if he can look really good against Kyle, that builds hype against Chimaev if he were to fight him. That being said, I think Kaio is definitely the guy that poses more of a threat to Hamzat. But yeah, I think he's got to fix his ego problems and like learn when to fucking shoot a takedown against strikers when you're getting clipped. And like this whole like the way he's acting on Twitter kind of gives me doubts that he's going to do the right thing in the cage, and he's not just going to try to do some shit where he's like, oh, I'm going to strike the whole time. Oh, I'm going to wrestle better than Hamzat or some fucking like he'll be in his own head about it. But yeah, I've yapped. I'm going to say, hey, Nasruddin Imavov. I could see it being close. I'm going to say 49-46 though, winning most of the rounds on the feet, where Kaio kind of meets him there after shooting a bunch of stupid takedowns, even if he does go that route. If he goes the stupid takedown route, I can see Imavov finishing him with a body teep or knee. But yeah, I'm going to go Imavov decision.
Main event of the evening. It's a tough fight, man. For the right to fight Hamzat Chimaev next, allegedly. Or it could be the winner of RDR and Hernandez. We'll see how that goes. But this is a tough fight. You know, in terms of momentum, I know Imavov's coming off his best career win with the Adesanya knockout, and it was a great performance. But in terms of momentum, Kyle Borralho is like on a very long win streak right now. And he is, on paper, in my opinion, it's close. Like, they're both pretty well-rounded in different areas of the fight. Like, from striking. Like, I think Imavov's the better kicker. Probably just a better overall striker in general. But Borralho can wrestle. Borralho has a submission game. I would reckon his jiu-jitsu is better than Imavov's. I think there's a clear edge there. If this fight does go to the ground, that would favor Borralho. In the clinch, I feel like Imavov can be high. The taller man often has the advantage in the clinch. It's a close fight. It being in France, that's also a boost for Imavov. You have to know that. But I don't like the situation for Borralho, the two weight cuts. But to be honest, I don't think it's too drastic. I don't really even consider him that big of a middleweight, dude. Like, he's not that big of a middleweight. Imavov's the bigger guy in this fight. Gas tank, they both are decent. Like, I think Imavov won the 5th round against Strickland. You know, he didn't look bad in his first 5-round performance there. Borralho, he was able to get better in the fight and hurt Jared Cannonier in his 5-round fight. I don't know how that went the distance. That was awful. That should have been a stoppage. Man, I wanted to go Imavov, man. I really do originally wanted to go Imavov. I figured that he has a kicking advantage. He's just longer, taller, the bigger overall fighter, and the better technical striker. And I've seen the Cannonier fight. Like, Borralho is getting touched up. And if that's Imavov, you automatically assume, like, yeah, he's going to get clipped. He didn't grapple as much as he should have in that fight, and it's crazy how he's the fighting nerd, but he doesn't mix the martial arts in that matchup, so why would he do anything different, per se, in France? But there's a fight that stands out for me in Nasruddin Imavov's career that I simply can't ignore, and it's the Phil Haas fight. I know he's gotten better since then, but he got, like, multiple takedowns on him, and like, Cannonier don't really wrestle. Sean Strickland don't really wrestle. Israel Adesanya don't really wrestle. Trying to think of another fight that he had. There's another one, but since that Phil Haas fight, he hasn't really gotten his grappling tested, in my opinion. And I really wanted to go with Imavov in France originally. But I'm flipping the script. I'm going to go with both the fighting nerds in France. I think Kyle Borralho is going to get takedowns in this fight. I think he actually is going to do better in the grappling than people think. And I don't want to take anything away from Imavov's best win in his career and his best performance in his career. But I have to admit, before he knocked out Adesanya, he did eye poke him. I can't let that go ignored. He did a great knockout. He did eye poke him, like, right before he landed it. Like, no bullshit. Now, I don't want to dismiss that from him. He still is the better striker in this matchup.
Are we going to ignore the fact that motherfucker Adesanya didn't call for time, though?
Yeah,
and say he was good.
That is on Izzy's fault too. He was like immediately like, yeah, let's keep going. Like you're right about that too. Adesanya should have took him. He should have took his time. That's on him.
That's why I don't take that excuse for like I don't take anything from it.
Take away from it. I'm just noting that like he was a little like just a bit.
I know what you know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, I don't want to. That's his best performance. I don't want to take it away from him. But the two performances that I'm looking at, why I think Borralho wins this fight, is the Phil Hawes fight and the Sean Strickland fight. I think Imavov, when he is for sure confident in the power and his counter ability, I feel like that's when his striking is his most optimal. But it's hard for him to get his read on a counter on a Sean Strickland because of his defensive awareness. And I do think Borralho is more hittable than Sean Strickland, yes, but I feel like if he can pressure Imavov and have him on the back foot and have him guessing whether it's a takedown or he's going to entertain the jabs and the striking, I feel like he can really make Imavov second guess himself, and that will help mitigate the advantages that he has on the feet in size, technicality. Yeah, I'm going with Borralho. I think he's going to mix the martial arts, and this is the fighting nerd fight. I think this is the fight where he earns the moniker. I think he mixes the martial arts. He hangs with him in the boxing. He shows off some leg kicks and some kicks overall. He's able to secure takedowns. He's able to threaten potential submissions or get control time. I just simply can't ignore the Phil Hawes fight. And I know he got touched up in the Cannonier fight, but in his career, he's never been finished. I think he's only lost a decision. Let me double check that before I look stupid. Let me just do that real quick. Double check that before I look stupid. I want to say it was a decision loss. Let me just double check that. I'll edit this part out if I have to, or I might just keep it. Let me see. Yeah, he only lost one decision. I kind of want to see who that was too. Okay, the guy's 9-5. Not great, but that was early in his career, and that's okay. You can make mistakes and you can improve. So I know that's like double standard for me to say that for Imavov because of the Phil Hawes and the Sean Strickland fight. But yeah, I think Borralho's durable, and he's going to mix the martial arts, and he's going to get a decision win in France, and he will be the new contender potentially to fight Hamzat Chimaev. This is where he earns the nickname the Fighting Nerd. Or whatever his nickname is. Let me see that.
The Natural.
The Natural. Yeah, the Natural. Yeah. I think he's going to look good. I didn't want to pick Imavov, but I'm flipping the script. I think those two fights I can't ignore. I feel like he could do what Strickland did striking-wise, and I feel like he could do what Phil Hawes did grappling-wise. I feel like he could do both.
Phil Hawes. There you go.
Yeah. We appreciate you for stopping by on watching the channel. Click on our recent videos that we just uploaded. We got some interviews done this week, and make sure to stay tuned for the recap video, possibly after the fights. We're gonna try to do that more, and make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and take it easy.
Peace.